Hello everyone, my name is Suzanne Puckett and I would like to speak about the patient. The patient, building trust, genetic segregation, patient consent, be fair. I would like to speak about the patient's right to be free from genetic segregation, the patient's right to be free to consent to their treatments without manipulation, and the patient's right to be treated by fair medical professionals who are committed to non-fraudulent methods of practice. As medical professionals, we have a duty to treat the patient like we would want to be treated. Without the patient, we would not be here today. In order to truly treat the patient, we need to have an open line of communication about their medical treatment, medical history, and their medical claims. GINA, a right to be free from genetic segregation. Title I of the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act requires genetic information to be treated with the same privacy regulations as all other medical information protected under the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996. The overall goals of this act is to protect the individual from discrimination and to protect the individual from the fear of discrimination based on their genetic information. That genetic information includes an individual's genetic test results, the individual's family genetic test results, and the individual's family history of genetic disease or disorders. Continued. Patients are concerned about their medical information getting out to their insurers or employers. We want their trust. We have to prove that we are trustworthy. A 1995 Harris poll of the general public found that over 85% of those surveyed indicated they were very concerned or somewhat concerned that insurers or employers might have access to and use genetic information. While there are many who would take advantage of genetic testing to plan for further health issues, that knowledge scares them at the possibility of discovery by insurance companies and employers. What does this mean? We have to protect our patient's information. We want our patient to trust us, so we have to make them believe that they can trust us with their most private information. As medical professionals, we want to know in patients' complete history makeup, but patients have been burnt by this in the past. The sheer act of establishing this act shows that not everyone can be trusted to keep genetic information private. Some patients are afraid to share every detail in fear of being segregated for those details. Patient consent. Make it personal. To further grow the patient's trust, we as medical professionals must be transparent about their treatment options with ample time for questions and deliberation, and their safety before, during, and after treatment. To further grow the patient's trust in us as medical professionals, we must be transparent with them about their care. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services is moving forward with quality measures with informed consent processes. These measures will aim to improve patient-physician relationship by implementing a shared decision-making process. CMS wants hospitals to ensure patients receive basic information in a written format which is understandable and legible and presented with sufficient time allowed for questions and deliberation. By offering a clearer format, physicians are eliminating confusion for patients and building trust by offering transparency. The patient consent should be understandable to the patient. They should have clear insight to their safety before, during, and after treatment. They should also know all of their treatment options. False claims. To build onto their patient trust, we have to meet compliance goals to avoid non-fraudulent claims. False claims are considered felonious. False claims are claims submitted by healthcare providers for services for non-eligible beneficiaries. Under the Medicare and Medicaid Anti-Fraud and Abuse Statute, false claims submitted by medical care providers are considered felonious. In order to deal with these fraudulent claims in the healthcare world, the Department of Health and Human Services and the Department of Justice created the Healthcare Fraud Prevention and Enforcement Team Task Force in 2009. Since then, there has been a 75% increase in criminal charges dealing with healthcare fraud. In the 2016 fiscal year, the Department of Justice opened 930 new civil healthcare fraud investigations and had 1,422 civil healthcare fraud matters pending. How trustworthy do you think we would be to a patient once they saw our medical professionals involved in a healthcare fraud case? And now I present to you an acronym, TRUST. Treatments with transparency, responsible with private medical information, unique patient medical professional relationship, submission of non-fraudulent claims, trustworthy. We must offer treatments with transparency, with clear treatment options and safety assurances. Must be responsible with patients' private medical information, including genetic history information. That is how we will build a unique patient medical professional relationship based on trust and open communication. And we must have submission of complete non-fraudulent claims for reimbursement for medical treatment. This will prove us trustworthy to the end.